Hello, welcome to STN Racing. Thank you for joining us. I am Jarrett Mackey alongside Strix, Pulse Tricks. We are here at Rockingham Speedway for round 2 of the Great Lakes Cup Series for tonight's twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150. Tricks, what are you looking forward to going into this race?
Man, that's a good question. I kind of got pulled into this last minute, but from what I'm seeing, we're at the Rock. Here with the Gen 6 cars, we're seeing in practice. I was watching these drivers qualify in practice, and some drivers were doing really well. Some of them were kind of getting a little too touchy on the throttle and corner exit. So what we're expecting to see is probably hopefully some very clean racing, but it's entirely possible we might be seeing a little bit of chaos on the exit of some of these corners here.
Yeah, and the Rockingham Speedway, it's kind of a cult classic. People have been begging it for back on the NASCAR schedule for a very long time, and tonight we get treated to current NASCAR on, a somewhat older track. So really exciting for tonight.
Absolutely, I could not agree more. As the cars doing their pace laps here. From what I can see, I believe in first position is Peter Acumano in the 45 car, is that?
Yes. Well, that's Daniel Nenny in the 45 car. I believe the pace car is off and the green flag is out. He will lead the field down in the turn number 1. Looks like so far across the start-finish line, everyone gets away clean. Except I lied. There's a commentator's curse. I believe there's a huge accident in the back. No. At least 6 or 7 cars.
Oh, no. Somebody missed a gear or something. That had to be what happened. Didn't expect there to be a wreck so soon. Yellow flag out now. We'll have to see in the replay what really caused that issue here.
The 18 car of Jacob Williams has some damage. It looks like the 24 car just got up into the wall, and everyone behind him really had nowhere to go.
Man, I gotta look at the broadcast feed, see what happens here. Yeah, he spun the tires on the start, got a little squirrely there and wasn't able to save it, and caused a big pileup. These cars on the Rock seem to be very rear-end happy. They seem to not really... They don't seem to be very planted, so these drivers are gonna have their hands full this entire time here.
Yeah, for sure. And, super tough break from Michael Augusta, who really, he had no clue that was coming. And he really, there's nothing he could have done. Right in front of him, it just happened. Didn't have enough time to react to it.
Yeah, it's really something, When a car goes sideways like that, you never really have time to react unless you've got lightning quick reflexes, like inhumanly quick. And even then, it's more than likely that you're just going to get run to the back of anyway.
Yeah, most certainly. Tonight's race is 150 laps, and with this track only being a mile, the lap times aren't that long, excuse me. But when they're all under caution, we will see how long this race takes, and hopefully, cautions breed cautions, right? So once these drivers get a few laps under their belts, things should settle down a little bit. We should have some decent green flag runs.
That's what you would hope, yeah. But hopefully they take notice of this and say, "Oh, maybe I should be a bit careful on the restarts," and then. Focus on that, and then maybe they might forget about something else, like focusing on their exits. Not to diss any of the drivers. They're competent drivers. They know what they're doing, but mistakes can happen, especially if you're focusing on some things. And there are a lot of drivers on this field who are ready to go and are just pacing around on the yellow flag for the first few laps of the race because somebody got a little too touchy on the gas pedal. So they're kind of trying to deal with having their whole mindset sort of shifted from like go time to pace time.
Yeah, we will see as the lights are out on the pace car. I believe they will now double up to get the second chance to restart this one. We'll restart on lap 5, so 145 laps to go, but no laps so far completed under green. Daniel Nenny, of course, has led every single lap so far. He'll have to keep that one up as we head down the backstretch at pace speed.
I'm looking...
I believe only one driver disconnected after that accident, so still a pretty sizable field here.
One car behind the wall. Unfortunate, but, things happen. That's racing. But I will say one thing, though. A lot of these paints here that I see on the field are done very well. I really like just looking at some of these liveries here, and I believe the car in the third position looks really nice. It's a good one.
Yeah, trading paints, of course, and so many designers in the community these days. It really is a sight to see sometimes. But the green flag is back out. Daniel Nenny leads them back into turn number 1. Looks like everyone got away clean from the start that time, as about half a car length advantage so far for Nenny over Christopher Heller. Down the backstretch, looks like we will complete this lap under green, barring any last-second lap incidents. As Heller looks to be making a move down to the inside as they come across the start-finish line.
Yeah, this is going to be some close racing here. These two drivers seem to have done very well in their qualifying times. The 11 getting the pass done on the other side, getting a little bit squirrely on the exit. As I mentioned, a lot of these cars, they're getting a little unsettled off corner exit, manages to keep it and keep the car under his feet, and able to make it another lap, and your new leader is the 11 car.
As I mentioned, this track's somewhat old, so you see the cars, when they're in the corner, they're bouncing up and down, and that really just creates an unhappy race car, super unsettled, and so you can see how accidents and people get loose can happen like that, as Christopher Heller has built a pretty sizable advantage in just a lap and a half over Daniel Nenny in the 45.
Yeah, that is an incredible lead. He was able to just pass the now second place car just incredibly quickly. The 45 car there now just a large gap behind him, and he now has the car behind him. I believe that's a 21, just breathing down his neck, ready to take his position away from him now too. Heading into turn 1 and coming out of turn 2, the battle for second definitely within grasp for the 21. The 45 trying to run away from that, but it seems the 21 is just reeling him in bit by bit, 10th by 10th, as Christopher Heller in the lead car just bolts away, still increasing that lead.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly an interesting battle to watch, as they're, the closest and highest, points, position on the track to be racing for. As the leader is just checked out. He's continuing to build up his advantage over the 45 and the 21.
Heading across the start-finish line, once again, the 21 and the 45. As we ride on board with the 21 of R.J. Williams. Started 4th, increased his position by 1, and is looking to get another gain in that position. Qualified very well as the 45 ahead of him, but there is a long race to go. There is still a lot of opportunity for these cars to catch right back up to Christopher Heller, because it's entirely possible that Chris may be running his tires pretty dry, and by the end of the run, he might not have much to work with.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about under that first caution is, the drivers have had a couple laps to settle down, settle in, and, they're taking off really fast lap times, low 22s for some of them, low 23s for others, but, once they're in their groove, they kind of get going, but, still all over the track, people get loose, people getting sideways on these corner exits.
Absolutely true. Not a lot of downforce on these cars, so there's nothing really keeping them tied to the track. As we look a little bit further back in the pack, there is an incredible, not a pile-up, but rather just like an incredible bunch-up of all these cars battling for position with each other. You wouldn't even know that this kind of battle was going on, because the battle for second and third, as well as the leader, is just like so far away.
Yeah, of course, Will Klein in the 48, part of this mix, and then Jimmy Johnson car. These drivers are doing a great job racing this close on this, rough of a racing surface, and being able to keep their cars clean, and, long it may continue.
Yes, we see the 48 of Will Klein in this battle for position alongside Jacob Manning just ahead of him, and Frederick Cremines, I believe.
Yeah, things got very tight right there with Frederick, as you mentioned. Things got very tight off that final corner, but, great job by these drivers to keep it up. And now, blink and you miss it, we're already on lap 16 here, coming up to it.
And just as we're talking about that, what's his name again? There he is. Will Klein manages to get ahead of the pack. Manages to pull a little bit of a gap here. It's lap traffic, slow traffic on the high side. 28 is going to have to slow up for him. I'm not sure why he was so slow on the top end of the track, but the 28 losing out a lot of ground to the pack ahead of him. He's going to have to work to try and catch back up.
Yeah, and you know, tracks like this where there seems to be one dominant line over the other one, it's really hard for lab cars to kind of get out of the way in a lot of those instances, and that was just a case of that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, really unfortunate. You don't like to see it happen, but oh, and there's a wreck. 49 and the 44 get together, but I don't believe the yellow will come out. They were able to gather it up just enough. Didn't cause much of a risk to the rest of the field. That was a close one, the 44 and the 49 getting together and managing to save it, but not without damage. That 49 is a little bit damaged.
Yeah, I mean, that's again, props to them for being able to save it and not have a caution. None of these drivers really want a caution in this circumstance, but great job of those drivers, and we stay green. So if you look back up to the front, Daniel Nenny's kind of closed that gap on Christopher Heller. Maybe unsure if that's due to lap traffic or what, but it was 1.3, 1.4 seconds consistently, and now it's down to 0.947 seconds. So maybe Daniel Nenny found out something new on the track, or Christopher Heller burned up his tires, but that gap is closing.
It could more than likely be the lap traffic, because we did see that one instance there where the 07 was just way too slow and held up another driver. So we're going to have to see how this plays out as he heads into more lap traffic ahead of him. Cars just one after the other. He's going to have to deal with these cars pretty quickly, because right behind him is Daniel Nenny, and he's going to have to reel him in real quick, while the first place car just continues to keep the lead.
Yeah, for sure. And we see right in front of him right now, there's cars going too wide. Wow, the 48 car got very loose in front of the leader here. That's the last thing that Christopher Heller will want to see. But yeah, doing a great job putting these cars a lap down. I believe now he's lapped up to the 27th place car. And so he's just taking away those laps. Daniel Nenny has closed the gap now to 0.5 seconds. He's basically on his bumper as they head off into turn number 3.
Man, this is exciting. We saw at the beginning of the race just how big that gap had extended, but due to the lap traffic getting in the way, just with the way that the Rock is designed, Daniel Nenny is able to just travel through the field and get right back up to the bumper. He has more than enough opportunity to be able to take the win here with how good he's been getting through traffic cleanly and quickly compared to Christopher Heller.
That's the thing about these iRacing leagues is, they're really so competitive. Anyone can win for the most part. Any Sunday, wow, a car right in front of the leaders, I believe that will be the 18 car, brushes the wall but is able to collect it. But yeah, anyone can win these races on any given day for the most part. And that's one of the best parts about this service, is how competitive it truly is. And that's on full display tonight.
Oh, I could not agree more, especially in the oval side of things. You would expect like you're just driving in a circle. How hard could it be? But a lot of these cars, because you don't have a whole lot of downforce, and because you don't have a whole lot of lateral grip either, you're constantly fighting with the car to keep it not just straight, but also keep it turning in a smooth arc around these corners, because the more little adjustments you make, the more shaky your input, the more speed you cut from your car. So, the fact that these drivers are driving as fast as they are around the Rock and not causing major incidents, and in fact when they're wrecking, they're saving it, that is like an incredible feat of, it's just an incredible display of talent.
Yeah, and those watching who have never done iRacing or not really sure what it's about, they hear you say downforce and they think, well, that's a real life thing, where it matters on iRacing too. I mean, if these cars had the big wing and a ton of more downforce, these cars they'd be a lot less loose. But also the track surface is not helping these guys out too much either. Like I said, really old racetrack, comparatively to some of the other ones on the schedule. So with how rough it is, with the surfaces, it really does not help these cars out at all.
That's absolutely true. These cars, like, Oh, in iRacing, downforce is massively important. You know, your NASCARs, like the Gen 6s you see here, are going to drive vastly different from, say, the Indy cars or the new IR01 Formula-esque fantasy car that iRacing just released. You know, you're going to see a lot of downforce around there, although with the IR01 a little bit less downforce than maybe the Indy car or like the Formula 1 car. But with NASCAR, there really isn't a whole lot of force putting the car into the track except the banking just forcing the car in. And as you said, this is very old surface, it's very bumpy, so you're going to see a lot of tire wear. You know, it's just a very difficult time trying to get these cars around the corner, as we see Daniel Nanny finally take the lead from Christopher Heller, and Christopher Heller now falls back to third as RJ Williams takes second.
Yeah, things got really real right there for Christopher Heller. He, you know, I don't know if it was a bad turn or what, but Christopher Heller is down in the third place now for the first time since this race began. He has RJ Williams right in front of him, Nanny in first, and you know, Nanny got the lead back, and he did it with ease for the most part. And now RJ Williams has a claim to stake in his lead, as he's almost on his bumper as they come out of turn number 4.
Yeah, the 21 of RJ Williams doing a fantastic job in that blue and almost teal, almost green, kind of bluish green kind of color. One of my favorite paint jobs on the field, getting into second place right behind. And, you know, this is incredible. We've seen a little bit of a shakeup with the leaders from Christopher Heller getting up to a very early jump to the lead, and now finding himself in third behind the two other fastest qualifiers in this race, doing a fantastic job keeping their position, while Christopher Heller seems to be falling back.
And RJ Williams, you know, might want to take advantage of this lap traffic trouble that Daniel Nenny found himself into, as yeah, we complete lap 34. And then he has the lead back from, I believe it was lap 7 he got overtaken for the first time. And they're, you know, just as close as Nenny and Heller were before Nenny completed the move and then Williams followed.
Oh, we see a car right in front of the leader get a little bit squirrely on the straightaway and slam into the wall, but once again is able to save it. That's an incredibly scary thing to see out of your front windshield, but I managed to save it and keep it from wrecking. Thank Christ for that. Yeah. But that is going to be the main concern for this track, I think, for these drivers, is just the lap traffic, because as we've stated before, this track is very old, it's a very bumpy surface, but also it's a very narrow looking track as well. There isn't a whole lot of space for you to be able to make a clean pass. So, you know, especially when the gap between, like, you know, like the speed difference is so massive, it makes for a pretty tricky spot to try and handle.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the main reasons why there's been such outcry for this track to come back onto the NASCAR schedule. It just produces good racing. It has for a very long time. You know, a few years ago, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series went there, and then there was hope that maybe something would come of that, and really it hasn't. But on the iRacing service, it's still a fan favorite, and we're seeing some incredible racing tonight. As Daniel Nenny and RJ Williams have lapped up to nearly the top 20. I believe they have one more car, that being the 95 of Brandon Dennis, before they're able to get up to the top 20. But props to these drivers, props to everyone in this field for calming down. We've not had a caution since that first one. And as I say that, the yellow flag has come out.
Oh, yeah.
As Williams does a good job there to slow down before he runs into the back of Daniel Nenny. And the pace car will, in fact, come out of the pits right in front of Daniel Nenny.
Man, you hate to see it, you know, just as you were commenting on these drivers, and I was going to comment on it too, because these drivers have been going a very long time without wrecking, which is beside the point of nearly wrecking. But it seems we flew a little too close to the sun this time around as we watched the replay.
Yeah, just kind of got spun there, it looked like, and really heavy contact with that inside wall on the backstretch, but really unfortunate there. As yeah, I guess two cars getting together, not a lot of real estate working on that one, and that brings out the yellow flag, the second one of the night.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. From what I saw here Oh yeah, the 2 gets a little bit loose into turn 1, I believe. Hits the wall, gets a little slow, and it's just a big speed mismatch there between the 1 car and the 2 car. And unfortunately, the 1 hooks the 2, and the 2 goes for a spin.
Yes, you see the leaders. Daniel Nenny's on pit road. Heller behind him as well. OJ Williams on pit road. Looks like everyone came in for tires, which, I'm sure they were crying out for. I mean, it was what, lap 36 on that green flag run, 40 actually, on those tires. But yeah, looks like Nenny will lead the race off of pit road and retain his position.
Yeah, as we see behind him, Christopher Heller getting the 2nd position, I believe. Getting the 3rd position is Caleb Desorda is actually in the 1st position in the 3 car.
Must have stayed out.
Sorry, that might be. I think my I think my timing screen is being a little bit buggy here, but yeah, we see Christopher Heller right in front of RJ Williams in that 21 car, so he's able to make up a position and gets right behind David Nenny. So we'll see how that turns out going to the green flag.
Like I mentioned a few laps ago, for those who don't know too much about iRacing, new to the service, new to watching it on YouTube, this is for you.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
We are back here under green after the 2nd caution and after that quick little iRacing video here for you. Daniel Nenny did a great job on the start, and he leads the field going to turn number 3. No incidents in the back. Very much different from that first restart of the night, and Nenny's right there, and Heller, I believe, is right behind him in 2nd. I lied. It was Williams. Williams behind him in 2nd.
Yeah, this is once again a good start from this field as they try and sort themselves out, getting into single file line for turn 1, going through cleanly. As we take a look at the 25 here of Brandon Barkuski. In front of him, the 6 of the 83, Scott Schuer, as they battle it out for, I believe, the 7th position, or the 6th position there. Right ahead of them is the 5th position, and once again, the top of the field has run away from the rest of the field, with 4th all the way to 1st being a significant gap ahead of the rest of the pack.
And you mentioned Brandon Barkuski there in the 25 car. Tonight's race, of course, the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkuski 150 here. So, he stepped up to the plate and sponsored this one, and pretty good showing for us so far tonight. In 7th place in that 25 cars. He just makes the move now for 6th.
That's actually a good idea. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Just like promote my Twitch channel. Just on a race. Just name a race after my Twitch channel.
Put the money where the mouth is
Yeah,
the name of the game. As RJ Williams thought he was going to make a move there in turn number 1 on Daniel Nenny, but unable to do so that time as Nenny retains the lead. And this front three really has not changed this entire race. And, but even then, they've been putting on some really good show.
Absolutely. The top three have been absolutely running away from the field, but don't forget about the one in fourth position there. In fourth position there, Manning, I believe. He's just lurking in the background. He's giving him a little bit of space, just saying like, you know what? I'm going to let you guys make mistakes. I'm going to let you guys battle it out with each other. And I'm just going to be back here to collect up all the positions. We see the 89 car of Sean Williams. Right behind the pack is RJ. Tries to make a pass for from David Nanny, and he takes the top spot away. And Christopher Heller seems to be looking to make it 2 positions that David Nanny will be moving back. As we see now the 89 car of Sean Williams also trying to make it across. What happened here to make David lose so much time?
Well, Heller was very happy to do that because that, of course, happened to him when Nenny resumed the lead. He got passed twice at once. But for this one, it's even worse for Nenny as he falls 3 positions back down into 4th. And, he didn't just lose these positions. He fell back, I believe that might be a second when they crossed the line. And now the caution is out on the racetrack. The 3rd one of the day.
Ooh, the 07 of Shane Posey parked completely perpendicular to the track. Not a good spot to be in, but waiting for a point in time where he can cross the racetrack and get going. As we get the replay ready for that, we're going to see what exactly caused this caution here, although I can assume it's probably something to do with the exit of corner of turn 2, which is where that accident happened there.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It really came out of nowhere.
Ooh.
Again, that inside wall on the backstretch.
Yeah.
That inside wall on the backstretch got him, and man, that's a lot of damage right there.
That is a heavy amount of damage, and of course, it's basically the same thing that happened during the last caution. We saw one car going slow, another car going fast, and they touched together and caused a yellow flag. Of course, the 07, the car behind the slower car, getting the worst of it this time around. Very unfortunate to see, but as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the exits of these corners are going to be very dicey for some of these drivers. Not even just for every driver individually, but for driving in a pack, seeing drivers struggling and losing speed off of the exit. It's posing a hazard, as we've seen twice now for these other drivers.
Yeah, and something to note, right before that caution came out, Sean Williams was able to complete the trifecta on Daniel Nevy and get by him and climb up to the 3rd place position. But while the front 2 have been the same, front 3 for the most part, we saw what happened with the lap traffic. Anything can happen with these lap cars. Anything can happen with these drivers, losing control off the corners. And, just because we're a third of the way into this race and it's been this dominant from these guys, do not expect that to stay the same, because anything can happen at this track.
Yeah, we've seen already that this track is very unpredictable when it comes to how you're going to be spat out of the exit of these corners. And really, anybody can make a mistake, even as we saw Daniel Nanny unfortunately losing 3 spots to RJ Williams, to Christopher Heller, and to Sean Williams. So really anything can happen, the drivers behind could find the pace to possibly pass Daniel Nanny and, be able to put him even further back. That's an entire possibility. But it's also possible that Daniel, as we've seen earlier in the race, catches back up and gets the lead again. Anything is really possible here.
Thanks for joining us tonight on STN Racing. We have some upcoming events for you guys. We have the Ring Around the Roadies finale on Wednesday, December 23rd at 8 p.m. You know, I race personally in that league. Sometimes it's always an interesting show. Very skilled drivers on very incredible road courses. Then we have the FTS GNS Series presented by Bar Visuals, round 1 at Daytona on the 23rd of January on Saturday at 10 p.m. And then the 2021 IGB 400 qualifying on January 3rd, heats January 8th through 9th, and the last chance qualifiers on January 10th with the main event race that same night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We hope you join us there on STN Racing for those events and some very mouth-watering prospects and races coming up soon.
Absolutely. You know, Ring Around the Roadies is a very interesting concept. As far as I can remember, it's Gen 6 cars on road courses. And I believe I actually commentated for the race at the Circuit of the Americas, and it was an incredibly interesting race. We saw like a lot of cars having issues with, you know, wheel spin and, you know, those lower speed corners were very difficult. So if you pick one of those series, I would recommend all of them. But you had to pick one. Ring Around the Road, it's a pretty good one.
Green flag back out here at the Rockingham Speedway's lap 55 begins. RJ Williams get off to about a car length advantage outside of Christopher Heller as they head off onto the backstretch. Sean Williams back there in third. Nenny thought he was going to make the move down there into third as Williams seemed to get loose off the corner, but he remains steady in fourth place, does tonight's pole sitter. As the cars just, oh man, they look so out of shape going over these bumps in these corners.
Couldn't agree more. You know, you just don't have the suspension travel to deal with such a bumpy road course. As Christopher Heller and RJ Williams are surging ahead, they're quite a
little bit back here. Apologize for cutting you off here, but a little bit back here, I wanted to touch on something very quickly. Elliot Henderson, I believe he received an EOLL at the beginning of this race, and he already finds himself back up into 6th place, so he's a hard charger so far tonight. And Elliot Henderson, of course, of Elliot Henderson Graphics, he's, you know, if you're in the community, you know who Elliot Henderson is. He's a great guy, really good racer, and tonight he might just find himself in victory lane.
Yeah, that car looking mighty fine, if I do say so myself. Green being my favorite color. Very vibrant, probably one of the most noticeable cars. Because Christopher Heller makes the pass for first place on RJ Williams, now taking the pole position as Daniel Nanny also makes the pass on Sean Williams. So now, as we saw before, Christopher Heller opening the gap and just running away. This is, you know, Christopher Heller has an uncanny ability to just turn the jets on in that Gen 6 car and just run.
Yeah, well, you know, as I mentioned, this track is so one-lane dominant that we really haven't seen many fights for the lead. I mean, once someone gets inside of somebody else, that's pretty much all the fight they can put up. And that's really happened a few times for the lead, and that happened for Nanny on Williams. But, yeah, Heller, you know, he got out that lead that one time, and then lap traffic, maybe tires fell off, something happened like that. So if we get a green flag, we're interested to see how long he can stay up there ahead of RJ Williams and Nanny back there in third.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he's using his tires, because he's got a significant gap now. You know, you would have to think what's running through his mind is, should I save my tires or should I jump out ahead and hope for a caution and then change my tires or something like that? Because with this extreme amount of gap, you're going to be using up a lot of your tire unnecessarily. You can maybe drop maybe a hundredth or two, try and save a little bit of your tires, because at this track that is all important. That rubber meets the road sometimes as you see these cars lurch through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, most certainly. Very interesting thing to note about Christopher Heller, I have it over here on my data screen. He has the fastest lap by about 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths maybe. So he, you know, when he gets out in front in that clean air and he's on fresh tires, he's the fastest car on track. But, you know, the problem comes when there's lap cars, you know, when those tires start to fall off. And that's where we see the good racing, and that's where we see, you know, anyone really could go for the win here.
I couldn't agree more. You know, these cars, you know, being as hard as they are, Christopher Heller seems to have figured something out. Figured out the right groove, the right braking point, and just the right sort of line in order to push that car way up ahead. getting right down into the yellow line on the entry of turn 1, and then drifting back up to the wall as we see the pack behind him as we follow Elliot Henderson sitting pretty in 6th, just ahead of him, 5th position. You know, this is a pretty interesting battle happening back here as Christopher Heller extends his lead as we go on board with Brandon Barkuski in the 25 heading into turn 1.
Yeah, tonight's sponsor, Brandon Barkuski. I don't think anyone else on the track's going to race him too nicely considering he's the one, just because of the fact that he's the one putting the money behind this race. But a really, really strong run so far in 5th. Started out in 10th, so he's +5 on the night. He'll be happy with that so far, but still a lot of race to go. We're not even halfway yet in this one, about 10 laps away from that.
Yeah, and we see going 3 wide on the front stretch. Ooh, they just barely make it. Wow, that was... I'm surprised they didn't wreck there. There's hardly enough room for 2 wide, let alone 3. I believe that was the 28 car of Frederick Kremines, making it go 3 wide, getting a little touch of the wall, still able to keep it clean, and still able to fight another day. What an incredible moment there.
Yeah, and these drivers, they've been racing hard all night. Maybe not at times they've all been, 2 wide, 3 wide in some instances, but, right when they're on the bump of each other, going into these corners with how bumpy it is, with all the variance, with, corner exit speeds, all this stuff, it's really incredible that they're able to drive at this level of competition, as well as being able to keep most of the cars clean, as we only had, I believe, 3 cautions. But the last time I mentioned cautions, we had 2, so I am going to never say that word again for the rest of the night.
Yeah, commentator curse got twice already. But we're going to look through the field again as we see the number 1 of Jacob Manning involved in that accident earlier before, up against Will Klein in the 48. The 48 able to get the pass done and heading into turn 1 now, charging through the field. It seems that one car losing a little bit of speed, but that's to be expected with the damage on the front end there we see on the front left fender.
Yeah, that's, even with all that damage and being involved in an accident, it's very hard to recover from something like that. But it was early in the race, so maybe every couple pit stops he gets to, fix more and more of that damage without having too much of a penalty. And he finds himself back there in 11th place. So he'll be happy with that, all things considered so far, I think, in this one.
Oh, I'd be absolutely more than happy for being within fighting position of 10th place as we see the number 10 car in the 10th position, Matthew Daniels. And ahead of him, Will Klein in the 48, as Matthew Daniels tries to catch up to Will Klein and try and climb his way through the top 10 in the 10 car.
And yeah, 23 cars still on the lead lap, which is pretty impressive considering with the accidents, with the long green flag lunge we had and how far Christopher Heller has been able to extend his lead. 23 cars in the lead laps, very great. And, we're almost at halfway, so you hope that number stays high for as competitive of a race as possible.
Yeah, and we were seeing just a moment ago there on the broadcast stream, we were seeing, I believe it was Elliot Henderson and Brandon Barkuski. Elliot Henderson was able to get the pass done there. And we're now looking around at the 44 car of Matthew Durr, just ahead of now Max Williams in the, I believe, the 52. Oh, wait, no, that's the 20. He's ahead of the 28 car. I was reading the wrong way. Of Frederick Crimmins.
Yeah, like I said, very interesting battles all over the track, and even single file racing's here interesting because, with the bumps, because of everything. I sound like a broken record at this point, but it's true. I have to stress to you guys how bumpy this racetrack is. And as we talk about the bumps, someone gets bumped, I believe, and the yellow flag is out for the 4th time tonight, if I'm good at math and counting.
I do got to say,
to find out what happened there.
Something like the 3rd or 4th. But it seems the number 7 of Kenny Myers ending up going slow on track. I'm not sure what happened here. We'll have to check the replay as we get that loaded in. But yeah, it seems like this rough track, this rough surface is just getting these cars very upset. Yeah, just getting a little too close to the wall. Ooh, and collecting another car. That's unfortunate. Getting, head on straight into the inside wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another instance of you know, two cars of differing speeds meeting on exit of turn 2. So turn 2 claims another victim.
Yeah, I believe that was the 48 of Jason Adams also involved in that one. And we'll see nearly every single car coming down pit road. I believe maybe only the lap down cars stayed out, but every car coming down as we are at halfway for this one. So 4 cautions, 3 maybe, who knows, in the first half of this one. Hopefully keep that number down in the second half.
Yeah, we love to see that green flag racing, because under green flag racing, we've been seeing a lot of great racing. We've seen a lot of cars going up against each other from different parts of the field, as we see all the cars getting tires, of course. You know, this track being very rough on tires. And we see Christopher Heller able to escape first with RJ Williams in second. Daniel Nanny might be in 4th position behind Max Williams, I believe, or might be in 6th position behind Max Williams, as we have Jacob Manning in the 1st position, I believe.
We will have to see once it cycles out. The iRacing, you know, scoring loops, it really only is at the start-finish line, so it's kind of a bummer that you got to wait that long to see what happens. I believe Max Williams just put in chat. He's coming into pit now. So once it cycles through, we will see. I believe not much will have changed. Jacob Manning is the leader by the looks of it. Wonder if he stayed out. Heller in second, Williams in third, Nanny in fourth. So we will see how this shakes up the field. I wonder how old Manning's tires are.
Yeah, it's a very interesting decision. I think he's banking on another caution flag. Been 37 laps without a tire change, so we're probably going to see him falling back in quick order as the other drivers with fresher tires kind of warm them up from cold to hot and then get going. We'll see if the strategy pays off as we go another lap around.
I mean, maybe he wants the bonus point, maybe he wants the glory be on TV a little bit more, but he will be the leader when this race restarts, and I believe we might get the one to go this time by as the pace car will turn its lights off. A new name up in the top 5, Caleb Distorta. Haven't really said his name much tonight in the 3 car. I could be wrong, but iRacing right now is telling me he's in 5th place. He's not. He's fallen back, so I look like a fool. He's down into... Yeah, that's tough. He's actually down into 18th. That one's on me. That one's on iRacing. I'll blame Nimcross for that one, but he's down into 18th.
Yeah, always got to blame Nim for the...
Love the guy. Yeah,
bug.
Manning. Yeah, for sure. Manning, the leader, looks like he'll be taking the outside. I haven't really seen that much tonight.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting choice to see if that pays off. You would have thought with older tires, especially old as his tires, he would have preferred the inside, but maybe he's got something cooking up his sleeve. Maybe he's got some idea about the outside line that even Christopher Heller doesn't know.
Yeah, maybe
so I guess
there's that, and he's also maybe hoping, you know, we had that caution on the first lap of the race. Maybe he's hoping we get about 60 more cautions and we just go to the end on this one with him out front. Pace car is off. Manning will take the green flag. About, you know, really good start from out old tires, but as I say that, it gets a little bit loose, and Heller is able to get through to the inside and take the lead by about a car length and a half.
And now Manning is falling like a brick on those old tires, going too wide through these corners. A very scary proposition to have. This is wonder.
By Sean Williams, and what a great job by the field not to plow into him in any way. Looks like he got tapped a little bit there from behind and really did a great job to blow that car up, stay off the wall, and even a better job by the field for not plowing into him in that corner.
Yeah, as we were saying, we felt that maybe Manning was banking on another caution, and just as that so happens, he starts falling down through the order, and there's another caution. But unfortunately, he fell down through the order so quickly. I'm not sure if that strategy would have really paid off. I don't even know if it was an intentional strategy or not. That was a really interesting decision as we see the replay here. Oh yeah, Daniel Nanny and Sean Williams just getting a little bit too close to each other, and Sean, unfortunately, gets the worst of it, but he's able to keep the car clean. That was incredible driving from everybody there, completely missing the wreck. The number 10 just barely squeaking by. There was hardly enough room for that car to get through, and you found a way. That was incredible. A lot of these drivers doing a good job to avoid the wreck there.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, a few green flag runs ago, Elliot Henderson coming back from the back up into third place after that caution. He's sitting pretty right now behind Williams and Heller. He'll be on the second row for this restart, as well as Brandon Barkowski, highest he's been for these two drivers tonight. And of course, Daniel Nenny, we've said his name a ton tonight. He's back there, the furthest he's ever been, down there in 6th place. And under this caution, we'll throw STN Racing side by side. Don't miss it. When we come back to the green flag, we will have more of the second half here from Rockingham Speedway. Welcome back here to the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150, round 2 of the Great Lakes Cup Series from Rockingham Speedway. It's been a topsy-turvy race so far. Started off with a caution on lap 1, then had a very long green flag run, and now we found ourselves under the 5th caution of the evening as we are about to get lap 83, and I believe maybe the pace car will turn its lights off. So far down the running order, Christopher Heller in 1st, Williams in 2nd, Elliot Henderson in 3rd, Brandon Barkowski, tonight's sponsor, in 4th, Ty Aiken in 5th, Scott Schuer in 6th, Eric Kempf 7th, Frederick Cremens in 8th, Ethan Makwa in 9th, and Matthew Daniels in 10th. And the pace car does in fact turn its lights off, and we will go green this next time by, as we will begin on lap 84 of 115, tonight's 150 lap race. Rockingham Speedway, famous for being a mile long and famous for being a fan favorite, but been off the NASCAR schedule for a few years. But tonight, Gen 6s as they tackle this incredible, once great NASCAR Cup Series track.
And as we take a look at the field summary, after 150 laps, we've seen 6 lead changes, 5 cautions so far, and 18 caution laps. To be completely fair, that's a lot less than I would have expected, considering the condition of this track and what the drivers have to deal with. But they've done well so far, and once again, they'll be letting loose soon.
And wow, Elliot Henderson was really sideways there, wicked sideways. Almost got into the 21 car there of RJ Williams, but was able to keep it clear. And I wonder if we'll get a black flag from that. I think Williams also spun his tires, but he passed him on the inside as he finds himself in 2nd place, right behind, a car length and a half behind Christopher Heller as I head off into turn number 3. The highest Henderson's been all night, and I believe almost the lowest that Williams has been so far this evening.
I gotta say about Elliot Henderson's start there, I'm more of a drifting kind of guy. I kind of like I've been commentating that kind of thing quite a lot, and you would have fooled me if you said that this was a drifting competition and he was just about initiating into turn 1. That was sideways. I'm actually really surprised that he was able to save that as we watch the 25 of Brandon Barkowski, once again the race sponsor, fighting with Ty Aiken in 71. That's a name we haven't yet mentioned, but here he is in 4th position, doing incredibly well.
Yeah, for sure. Started out 12th, and he finds himself in 4th. You got to wonder if his car is coming to him, he's figuring out the track more, or honestly just taking advantage of pit strategy. We've had a lot of excuses to do that now, as Christopher Heller, again, builds up a lead after a restart, but Elliott Henderson might be his toughest challenger yet so far tonight.
Yeah, we can see that Christopher Henderson isn't quite able to make the gap as large as he's been able to make it with R.J. Williams or Daniel Nanny following him. So it might seem like Elliott Henderson will be his biggest challenge yet, as Elliott Henderson gets a little bit wide off of turn 2, gets a little bit of the wall, maybe opens up the gap just a little bit, but he's not phased. He's still charging straight ahead, looking at that green bumper.
Yeah, we all know about the Darlington stripe and how famous that's become, but I think there's something to be said about the Rockingham stripe, as Elliott Henderson gets a little bit of one there on the right rear quarter panel. I do not think that'll affect him too much. I don't really see any aero problems for him so far, but yeah, really, and even didn't lose that much time to Heller, but we will see if that does affect him as this race continues.
Yeah, as we look back through the field, the combined gap from Christopher Heller all the way down to R.J. Williams, pretty significant, but Elliott is just right in the rear window. And R.J. Williams is just sitting back here saying, okay, he's doing his thing again. He's doing this thing where he puts on the jets. He goes way off into the distance. But you know what? I'm still here. I've got Elliott Henderson in front of me. I got Ty Aiken right behind me. But no worries. Christopher Heller is going to come back to me at the later end of the run, and we might have a significant 4, even possibly 5-way battle here for the lead.
And, on board with R.J. Williams there. He's been really strong all night, really, like I said, not really out of that top 3 for the entire race so far. And he's even led a few laps, I do believe. But right now he has Elliott Henderson and Heller in front of him. But he knows he's going to be patient. Still 58 laps to go in this one, 58 miles until a winner is decided. So he's probably pretty comfortable where he's at right now.
Absolutely true. And further back in the field, you can see a pretty significant pack forming down there as well. I'd maybe like to take a look at 63 of Eric Kepf there, with the cars behind him, around him. Fairly significant battle here for 7th position within the top 10. These cars, there's a bit of a gap between them, but it's been opening and closing with a lap after lap. So very interesting to see these cars mixing up here. Of course, a familiar face, Frederick Kremins in the 28, just behind him in the yellow-red.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, we see these laps as they wind down. We also see these lap cars kind of get closer and closer, and these cars get looser and looser due to the tire fall off. And of course, not too long ago, iRacing updated the tire model, so these drivers are still coming to grips with that. Some of them maybe not race as much as some of the others, so they will have a disadvantage there. Some will have a more of an advantage. But Henderson, of course, he's racing on these. He's racing on this tire model. He's super used to it by now. And right now we see Heller, the leader, catching up on the first lap cars of this run.
Yeah, and for those of you who are not necessarily familiar with what the tire model means, essentially with iRacing, every so often they'll update how the tires behave on the track. And I like to think of it as almost like a different kind of compound. When it comes to real racing, you have actual tire manufacturers working with series organizers in order to build tires specifically for that series. And with iRacing, they've just released basically, in one way or another, a new compound. And so the drivers are going to have to try and get used to that, see how their cars behave, because the most important part of the car is the rubber. That's what keeps your car on the road in the first place. So as you said, it seems Christopher Heller has figured it out, but right behind him is Elliott Henderson whittling down that gap just bit by bit. He's still in there, Chris Heller can't be as comfortable as he used to be forming these kinds of gaps earlier in the race.
And I do believe we have not seen the last caution of the evening. Again, I lied. I said I wasn't going to say it, and I said it. We still have 51 laps to go in this one, 52 perhaps if my math is bad, but which it probably is. But, another caution could come out. I think Elliott Henderson knows that. I think Christopher Heller knows that. I think even Ty Aiken everywhere in this field knows that. Another caution is likely as we get more racy with these lap cars, that the tires start to fall off, some more mistakes could be had, and as honestly, people will get more desperate even.
Absolutely, and we see here on screen, Frederick Cremines was able to get the pass on the 63 of Eric Kepf and able to extend the gap. And just behind Eric Kepf is Matthew Durr in the 44 car, ready to challenge Eric Kepf for that sweet 8th position spot. And just behind Matthew Durr, we have the 89 of Sean Williams. We saw him in the mix earlier until he unfortunately got in a bit of a tangle with Daniel Nanny, causing the last caution we had here. Started in 8th, currently in 10th, but he has 50 laps to go to make up that position and at least get to where he qualified and maybe go a little bit further. It's the 44 of Matthew Durr, making a pass on the inside, and Sean Williams might be looking to get on the inside there. Not quite. And now, as you said earlier, we have not seen the last caution of the night.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if this was the last one either. I mean, believe this is the first one since the start of the race that's actually been on the front stretch and not off that danger corner that is turn number 2. A driver was removed from the server. It looks like Jacob Williams. I'm not sure if that's due to the caution or due to an incident count limit or what, but Jacob Williams no longer in this one.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at the replay here as the 71 gets into a big tussle with, who was that?
That's the 18 Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, the Williams. Yeah. And sorry, my screen kind of shuttered there for a bit, but yeah, Brandon ooh. Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. Might have been removed from the server due to some issues with incident points, because in some races, if you hit the wall or go off track or hit another car too many times, you can end up either serving a penalty or being outright disqualified. Maybe that's what happened there, or maybe you just kind of lost connection. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, so we will see how that caution will affect this. We're, into the final stage of this one, if you will, the final third of it. Only 45 laps to go. It'll be when we get the line this time, and the caution comes out. We'll see what the strategy is here. We'll see what the leaders do, and what the leaders do, honestly, is going to dictate what the rest of the field does.
That is 100% true. We've seen this be true for every other caution flag, but this hasn't necessarily been a very long green flag stage, considering when you consider how long the other green flag runs have been. So it'll be interesting to see, will Chris Heller and the rest of the group get new tires, or will they risk it and expect another caution within the next 47 laps or even less? Because, these tires, they don't really last all that long.
Yeah, but we've seen these drivers, once they get on these runs, they can make the tires last pretty long. And obviously, a green flag pit stop here is not the best case scenario. I'm sure these drivers, the second caution, I believe, was right near the end of the window where tires starts to really be a big issue. So I'm sure they love that one. And, if they could get a run to the green flag, the checkered flag, without having to pit under green, that'd be best case scenario for these guys. As we lap 105 here, is the top 5 is Heller, Henderson, Williams, Barkowski, and Scott Schuer, a name we haven't really seen that much up in the front of the pack. And so far tonight, Mr. Consistency has been RJ Williams. Not really pulled away from the field at any point, but also not really fallen too much in the rearview mirror of the leaders. So he's doing a great job down there in 3rd place.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen RJ Williams fall that far behind. He has been consistently up on or near the top. He's led a couple laps, I believe, but RJ is more than in position to be able to take the lead and possibly win the whole event. He's been there the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. And, like I said, something wacky happens here at the end, or, even on this restart, something wacky could happen is the pace car lights have gone out, and that could put RJ Williams in the catbird seat for this one, as we are coming up, I believe, on nearly 40 to go here in a couple laps.
Yeah, that'll be 44 to go when we come across the start-finish line once again. And Chris Heller taking the inside and putting Elliott Henderson on the outside. We'll have to see how quickly these drivers sort themselves out as we take a look at the track weather. Current air temperature is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you're like me and you're a Canuck, that's 24 degrees Celsius. Track temperature is at a 127 degrees Fahrenheit, quite a bit crisp. Winds are fairly low, coming in from the south at 4 miles an hour, and the humidity, it's a fairly dry day today. 45% humidity out in the air as we get ready with the pit car going inside, or the pace car going inside.
And a great start there by Heller again. He's been automatic on those starts as Henderson about 2 car lengths behind him. And Williams thought about maybe getting to the back bumper of Henderson, unable to do so as they run single file there onto the backstretch.
Yep, Christopher Heller once again making a big gap, but also once again, Elliott Henderson making a significant challenge, not necessarily letting Christopher Heller get all that far away, but RJ is right behind him. RJ Williams in the 21 car is threatening to take that position away. As fast as Elliott Henderson has been, RJ is right on the bumper, ready to take position.
Yeah, and Henderson doing a great job that time, kind of keeping RJ at bay. And like I've mentioned so many times, this racetrack is very one-line dependent heavy, if you will. So really, Williams, not much he can do. It's not like he can really jump out to the high side and try to get the run off the corner. But Henderson knows that. He's doing a really good job. I wouldn't say blocking him, but really defending that optimal line there in these corners.
Yeah, you can see RJ Williams right on the back bumper. He knows he's got the speed. He might be able to challenge Christopher Heller for that top spot, but he just needs to find the right place to make that pass. And heading into turn 1, he's just a little too far back. Doesn't quite get the run he's looking for. But right behind him is Brandon Barkowski, the sponsor of this specific event. And he is just raring to go. He is also right behind. He's got like 2,934 I rating. That's actually a pretty good I rating, if you ask me. And license B there as well, 3.59 from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, for me, I mean, that's, that I rating, I've been sitting at a constant 1,300 all my iRacing career, so I bite someone's hand off for an I rating near 3,000. But yeah, he's back there in 4th place. And honestly, Heller, front of the pack, he's begging for these guys to get racing, because when they start racing, he can check out and then even conserve his tires a little bit if we have a late race caution or something of that sort.
Yeah, Sean Williams in the 89 car, trying to make his positions back up. He's now in 7th place, so he's been doing that successfully. We saw him last way back in the pack, later in the order, but 7th position, better than his qualifying time. So he's at least in the green here, but he has a lot more to go if he wants to make up any more positions here, as he sees in front of him Scott Schuer and... oh, sorry, I lost my position here. Where am I? Scott Schuer and Sean Williams battling for position as well.
Yeah, and as I mentioned it, of course, right as I mentioned it, excuse me, RJ Williams was able to get by Elliott Henderson there. And for a second, I was thinking that Brandon Barkowski was going to join him and kind of do the discount double check of passing, as we've seen so far so many times tonight up in the front of this field. Unable to do so as Henderson falls back to 3rd. And now Barkowski is under pressure from Manning, and he gets to the inside. And it looks like he'll take that 4th spot away from Barkowski.
Yeah, one thing to note, you remember a while ago, he did not take tires. He was running far back in the order. This time, he's on fresh tires. He's one of the only drivers who's pit, and now we see him tackling Elliott Manning for 2nd place, driving into the turn 3, whipping past him before the entry of turn 3 is even over with. He has a significant amount of speed in that car.
Jacob Manning's going to hope that this continues. I mean, obviously, he blew by Elliott Henderson there like he was a house on the side of the road, but Manning is going to pray that we do not see another one of those things that I'm not going to mention, as he's on the back bumper of RJ Williams, giving him a little bit of a tap in the middle of the corner. That's how much speed Manning has right now over Williams, and eventually he'll have over Heller if he's able to complete this pass quickly.
Yeah, heading into turn 1, he's able to make the pass very cleanly, but you saw him get right up on the back bumper. And now it's time for Christopher Heller to defend his position, and he just lets it up. Jacob Manning takes the position easily and just whips into first, and now he's going to be extending his lead just like Christopher Heller has been doing all night long. It's time for Jacob Manning to say, hey, I saw you all night, now watch this.
And honestly, you said he gave it up, but to be fair, there's not much Heller could have done there. I mean, it's just having a faster car and faster rubber at this point in the race. But now Heller, the man who all night's been the one who's been, out front. I believe he's probably led the most amount of laps and has had at times the biggest lead of anyone else in this field, is going to be begging for a caution to level this playing field out. And Manning's hoping for the exact opposite.
Absolutely true, as we see RJ Williams and Chris Heller once again fighting for each other, but this time for second position. And behind them, just a small gap, is Elliott Henderson and Brandon Barkuski fighting for position number 4. And we see behind them as well 52 of Max Williams joining the fight there for 4th position.
Yeah, I mean, and, as these laps continue to tick down, 30 laps to go as you cross the stripe this time by. This lead for Manning is the biggest lead we have seen all night, and it will only continue to increase if race condition stays how it is right now. I believe when they cross the line, up to 1.9 seconds ahead of Heller, Williams behind him, and then another second back to Elliott Henderson in 4th.
And just as we saw there on screen, RJ Williams able to finally make the pass against Christopher Heller, now extending the gap. As we see here, the battle for 4th getting a little dicey, getting very tightly compact. There was Elliott Henderson, Brandon Barkuski, and of course, the 52 of Max Williams. And Max is able to get the best of it, making up 2 positions in that battle as Elliott Henderson falls behind and slightly grazes against the wall on turn 2 yet again. Once again, leaving that Rockingham stripe.
Yeah, we are, with RJ Williams completing the pass from Heller. And now I believe is at the 52 of Max Williams. I'm unsure if he's on the same strategy that Manning was, but whoever's in front here, if we get another one of those bad things that I'm not going to mention, if Manning and Williams, if they're on the same strategy, they both pit or stay out rather. Whoever's in behind the first car behind those people will be the one who will have the fresher tires if things continue how they are.
Yeah, once again, 52, Max Williams did not pit, so he's on the same strategy, or he did pit, rather, while the other cars did not. So he is on the same strategy as Jacob Manning. He has a significant pace advantage over RJ Williams. He might have the inside here coming into turn 1. The 21 of RJ Williams is unable to fight back, but he's trying his absolute best on the outside to try and make it work. .52 of Max Williams working into turn 3 and finally getting that pass done. It took him a couple corners, but he was able to get it done, and he gets a little squirrely on turn 4 exit. The 21, RJ Williams, getting once again right back at him, but the 52, the incredible grip on that car, on that fresh rubber on the outside, able to make the pass once again, and hopefully he'll be able to hold it this time as he sits pretty in 2nd place.
Something interesting to note, Williams and Manning on the same strategy. Manning's fastest lap, I believe, is a 1/10.5 slower than Williams' fastest lap. So he's faster than him, even on the strategy. If he can, kind of close that gap, I don't know if he has enough time to do it under green, but if something bad happens and, the race is put under a caution, I had to say it, who knows? That could be a very interesting battle for the lead there from Williams.
Yeah, and another thing, too, we haven't talked much about, because we hadn't had to deal with it until starting right about now, is lap traffic. Jacob Manning is now coming into lap traffic here as he goes up against the number 2. Both cars, number 1 and number 2, touching that yellow stripe there. And if you recall, the number 1 and number 2 were actually involved in a wreck earlier this race with, I believe it was the number 2 car that was slow off the corner. Jacob Manning had caught up to him and dumped him into the wall. Or was it the number 1? I can't remember.
I mean, regardless, I mean, of course, Manning's going to be thinking about that, but he's able to get by him there pretty cleanly. I believe Williams was able to gain a few tenths that last lap, but he, of course, has not gotten to the lap traffic yet, as the gap will now stand at 3.826 seconds. So half a lap gained on Manning that time from Williams, but again, he is not yet caught up to that lap traffic.
Yeah, of all the people who might have the best shot at taking the lead from Jacob Manning, it is easily Max Williams as we go on board, going through the front stretch into turn 1. Once again, let me remind you that this car has fresher tires, much like Jacob Manning's car has, than the rest of the field. So he's putting out incredibly quick laps, trying to catch up to Jacob Manning, and both cars, as well as the rest of the field, are soon going to have to deal with lap traffic as Max Williams comes up on some lap traffic here with the, I believe that is the, I couldn't quite see it, the 6 car?
Yeah, and you mentioned lap traffic, but Manning so far has a ton of clear track ahead of him. Might be another lap, 2 laps, could be even 3 laps unless something happens. But before he will have to deal with another lap car, and he's obviously loving that clean air and not having to deal, as the gap now to second place between Manning and Williams has extended to 5 seconds. 5 seconds flat with only 17 laps to go here at the Rock.
And another thing to consider as well, the 21 car of RJ Williams right behind Max Williams. And right behind them is Will Klein in the 48 car, sitting in 4th position, ready to make the challenge, and he does.
The yellow flag is out. The yellow flag's out, and in front of the leader, Jacob Manning has been involved in an accident on the backstretch as the leader. Nothing he could have done to avoid the wrecking cars in front of him, and he will be heartbroken about that as he played his cards perfectly. But who will benefit from this? None other than the 52 car of Max Williams.
Yeah, you're looking at the front of that car. You just see nothing but skeleton, lots of smoke pouring out of that car. You have to wonder if that car is even able to get back out on track, let alone being able to, make it back to the pits. As we see the replay here. Ooh.
The 48 car again involved. 48 again. And then Williams just, Manning rather, unable to get by. And, that's not an issue with the lap car. That's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And honestly, feel terrible for Williams there, as there's really not much he could have done there.
No, such a hard impact. Such a hard impact against, I believe, the 83 there, who might have just trying to react to the accident in front of him, just lost it, and unfortunately, Jacob Manning was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just, you hate to see it.
Yeah, really unfortunate for him is, like I said, he played his cards right. And I was just mentioning how that lead was about 5 seconds. And again, the 48 just, again, and off of turn number 2, just got loose, ran out of racetrack, something. And really another hard impact into that inside wall. That inside wall has so many victims tonight. And again, there's the incident you see there from Manning. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but this does bring up the question, though. When it comes to pit strategy, what we'll be seeing here. Of course, we've seen pretty much every driver on track pull into the pits. RJ Williams coming out first with clean tires, and right behind him, I do believe, is Christopher Heller. And Brandon Barkuski right behind him as well, choosing to get new tires, and the same with Elliot Henderson right behind him.
Yeah, Jacob Manning has left the server. One thing I'm a little bit confused on, Max Williams led him down pit road, and it's still sitting on pit road. So you got to wonder if there's a penalty situation, maybe some damage, but RJ Williams led them out of pit road. And, while tonight is a great night for oval track racing on the iRacing service, iRacing is very excited to announce new Rallycross content. I know that's a fan favorite, so here we go. Welcome back here to the Rockingham Speedway. We are under 15 laps to go here in the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150, the second round of this season of the Great Lakes Cup Series. And the lights on the pace car are out. You guys know what that means. We are going green next time by. RJ Williams, I said before, he's been missing consistency all night. Furthest he's dropping third. Some heartbreak there from Jacob Manning. But now it's RJ Williams who's ahead with, I believe we'll have 11 laps to go when we get the green flag.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to hear about Jacob Manning just not being able to get that car restarted after driving it into the pits. You know, he had such an excellent drive, and that strategy was working out so well in his favor, but unfortunately not able to benefit from it. And Max Williams was also on that same strategy, and he finds himself down the order too.
Green flag is out. What a perfect jump there from RJ Williams. And for the first time tonight, I will say I do not believe Christopher Heller had the start that he wanted, as he is able to retain second place, and Brandon Barkowski and Elliot Henderson battle for third as they head off turn number 2.
Yeah, getting a little bit sideways was Brandon Barkowski off that corner, as well as Elliot Henderson. You know, these corners are really not fun to drive on their exits, or maybe they are fun to drive. It depends on your perspective. But when you're in a close situation like this, with the laps taking away and the lead car just barely in grasp, just barely in sight, having those sketchy exits to those corners, man, you don't want them.
10 laps to go at the stripe this time by. RJ Williams has a pretty decent lead for this stage in the race over Christopher Heller. Looks like it's about 7/10 of a second. Then third place Barkowski, tonight's sponsor, the highest he's been all night. And we have another yellow flag on the speedway.
Wow, that didn't take much time at all. Unfortunate to see, but we see here Frederick Creemans in the 28 car. The Ford Fusion, or is that the Ford Mustang? I think it's a Ford Fusion. No, it's a Ford Mustang. Ignore me. I know cars, I swear. But Frederick Creemans slow on the track, unfortunately, as we look back at the replay and see what happened here.
Yeah, again, late caution. I don't think we'll see anyone pit. Oh, just got loose off the corner, I believe, and
Man.
Wonder if anyone else was collected. It looks like he's able to keep it off the inside wall at least. And wow, looks like he'll keep it off the outside wall for the time being.
Oh no.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But we wonder if he was maybe slowed down by that point. Not too much damage, but he did a great job up until that point, keeping a clean race car.
Once again on the front stretch, I gotta say, man, where's the drifting? Where's the clipping points, man? But he was doing a good job up until that point, trying to keep the car off the wall. And if it hadn't been for that car running into him, he probably would have touched the wall. But you know, yeah, with so few laps left and such little time between now and the last caution that we had, it's hard to imagine that anybody would be pitting at this point in time unless they think that pitting would significantly give them an advantage. And at this point, I'm not sure that it would.
Yeah, we will see what happens here for sure. I mean, I think this might be one of the quickest cautions we've had all night, as it looks like they're going to do the classic fake going down pit road thing. I don't know if anyone's really going to fall for it on this occasion. I do not believe anyone fell for it, as the leader's just playing around. So we see here, we appreciate you guys joining us on STN Racing tonight. Something very fun to note, a little bit of throwback for you guys watching. Maybe some of you guys involved who've been in the community for a while. The SNSL comes back on STN Racing Fridays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, starting on February 26th. What a fun league that was. A ton of super speedways on the docket for you on that one. It really is a throwback to some classic times on NASCAR Racing 2003 season. And now, pleasure to bring it back to you guys here on STN Racing starting February 26th.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping track of that one because I still have my little box set of NR 2003 just sitting right behind my monitor. You know, it's such a fantastic game. And to see them bringing that series back. It makes my heart warm.
Yeah, it's good, and of course, everyone owned NR 2003. Everyone bought it. Everyone it was great,
Yep.
and really, it's still to this day that the community's in perfect health. Maybe a little bit less now that iRacing's starting to add more content more regularly, but I know a ton of people who still love to get on that game, and even some big events that still take place on those games that draw a pretty large amount of people. But now we are on iRacing, and RJ Williams, the only thing on his mind right now is what he's going to do on these final 5 laps. If we will be with 5 to go when we get the green flag this time. The lights on the pace car are out.
Yep, we've seen 29 caution laps, and heading into the green flag, you got to think, like, are we going to see more? Are we going to see a green, white, checkered here? Many of these drivers thinking, nope, we don't want that. But, the thing is, this is The Rock. We can see anything here. If the fighting gets feisty, we might see a few wrecks yet to come.
Yeah, and this is make or break time for these drivers. And with this track being so small and these lap times being so quick, 5 laps to go could be considered in a lot of ways a green-white checkered. And RJ Williams, is going to hope to do what he did on this last restart and get a pretty good lead going off into turn number 1. Pace car is off, and yeah, what a jump that was. Looks like a 3 car length advantage even as Brandon Barkowski for the first time knocks his way into the top 2.
That is an incredible start. He just jumps right through the field doing what Chris Heller's been doing all night. And once again, we see Chris Heller just a little bit back in the field, squashed between Daniel Nanny and Brandon Barkowski. Of course, Chris Heller, not satisfied with that, he's going to say, I will take that position to Brandon Barkowski. Thank you very much. And now he's going to be chasing down RJ Williams as they're taking a big wreck out of turn 2. Once again, turn 2 claims more victims as we see, I believe that is Ty Aiken on his roof, flipping around and finally landing on his wheels. This just got interesting.
Yeah, I think we will have a green white checkered here. RJ Williams is I don't really know how he's going to feel about that. Of course, if it continued on the green, he probably would have had the thing wrapped up. But we've seen how good he is on the starts, and that little 2-lap run there is all he's going to need to replicate if he's going to find himself in victory lane tonight in the 21 car. Heller will like that. He'll get a do-over on that. And Barkowski, he looked pretty strong on that start, and he'll hope to kind of put the pedal to the metal even more to see if he can get up there and have a say in who wins this one.
Yeah, and we see on the replay there, the 83 got into the back of Ty Aiken. Got him a little bit loose. Ty Aiken tried to save it, but tapped the apron just enough to upset the car, and that just set the wheels in motion. Yeah, you can see the little tap there, touching the apron, getting the car loose. And tries to save it, but unfortunately just overcorrects a little bit and sends him straight into the turn 2 exit wall. And goes for quite the tumble, eventually landing on his wheels, collecting a couple other cars as well. You hate to see it, but that is racing. That's racing at the Rock, ultimately.
Yeah, and this race, while it's easy to sit there and be like, yeah, it was mired by cautions, whatever, we have seen some very, very good and very competitive green flag runs, and that can't be forgotten. The first run of the race, was a fairly long one, and we saw some very good racing with up front, with some of the lap cars getting past. So even with all these cautions, even all these laps under yellow, it has been very exciting, and it's been a pleasure to sit here and watch it.
I will absolutely agree with that 100%. As many cautions as we had, I believe this is our 6th or 7th now. But, the green flag action has been incredibly fun to watch. And the caution laps, they don't really last all that long because, as we've been saying, this track is actually quite short. So, after watching this race, I'm not super familiar with The Rock. Not super familiar with The Rock or anything like that, but this being my first introduction, I gotta say, why don't we see this happen more often on the NASCAR, on NASCAR? This would be a perfect venue for that. Caution flags are fairly short, and then your green flag racing, perfect kinds of racing. You see just fantastic competition out here.
It's been a good race so far. Of course, a lot cheaper and a lot easier to maintain the facilities and the racing surface when it's on virtual instead of in person. I do believe the facilities, it's changed hands a ton of times. It might be in a somewhat state of disrepair. Not as bad as some tracks like North Wilkesboro, for example, but definitely I do not believe they could take them out of the box and race there tomorrow. But the important thing is we are racing there tonight, and we are make or break, do or die time for RJ Williams, Heller, Barkowski, Nenny, and Henderson. The top 5 as the lights on the pace car are out for the green-white checkered to conclude the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150. And Williams, of course, gonna really, of course, just trying to replicate what he did on the last couple starts, kind of just get away, hoping Heller spins his tires, hoping Barkowski can kind of breathe down his neck a little bit. But Williams, although he's been good on these restarts, will still be hearing the Jaws theme song in his ear as we are about to see the decider for this one.
I think I saw a car blow up in the back there, just letting its transmission go. The 83 car, unfortunately, of Scott Schuer. My eyes were correct. I saw somebody blowing up back there.
But here we
Really
go, of
unfortunate
course.
to see.
You know, there could be 3 attempts at this green light checkered if needed. Pace car is off. Looks like RJ Williams going to brake a little bit, get that kind of momentum of the field slowed down, but then shoots right back out. And Barkowski able to get to the inside of Heller. And Williams is driving off about 2.5, maybe 3 car lengths lead as they head off turn number 4. And once they get the white flag, this will be the only attempt at a green light checkered. Barkowski trying to breathe down the neck of Williams, the highest, closest he's been to the front all night. But Williams will come off turn number 4, and I believe, don't want to speak too soon, we'll get the white flag.
And right behind them, Daniel Nanny competing with Chris Heller. These two have been technically rivals for the entirety of this event. But Daniel Nanny, of course, trying to catch up to Chris Heller, managing to do so, passing him, and then throughout the race, there have been a few shuffles, but now we see Daniel Nanny.
And coming off turn number 4, RJ Williams, the 21 car, Mr. Consistency all night, will get it done, and he will take the victory over Brandon Barkowski and the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150. Did not give the promoter, the sponsor of this one, any room, any advantage there, as RJ Williams, you have to say that's a very deserved win.
Absolutely, you know, part of me kind of looks at that and it's just like, yeah, but okay, but would have been cool if you had like, and the winner is Brandon Barkowski of the twitch.tv/Brandon Barkowski 150. But
yeah, he probably already paid the money to the promoter, so I don't think he can get that back because he came in second. But I don't think he'd want it back. I'm sure he's super happy with the second place finish, starting out in 10th, and really competitive car. But RJ Williams, you got to say, hand it to him. Really, the furthest down the pecking order he was all night was 3rd, and so for him to come across the line, 1st place, get the spoils of victory, of course, a very well-deserved win, and you gotta tip your hat off to him.
Absolutely, can't deny him that. You know, he's been working hard from the drop of the first green flag of this race. He's been doing a fantastic job staying up at the front, staying in attacking position, and it paid off right at the end where it counted with the green-white checkered. And of course, as we see the 21 doing spinny spins on the front stretch. And we'll go to your results to go through the whole order here.
Of course, you know, as we mentioned, RJ Williams in the 21 car able to get it done, and Brandon Barkowski in the 25 coming out 2nd, Daniel Nenny in 3rd, Henderson 4th, Heller 5th, Sean Williams involved in that one accident down there in 6th, Will Klein 7th, Brandon Dennis 8th, Matthew Durr 9th, Ethan Makwa 10th, Matthew Daniels 11th, and Max Williams in 12th.
And then throughout the rest of your field, you've got in 13th position, the 22 of Corbin Simmons. Right behind him in 14th, James SHIFFLETT. Josh Worley behind him in 15th. Caleb Disorda right behind him in 16th. Chris White, Scott Schuer, Eric Kepf, and Ty Aiken round out your top 20. 21, Frederick Kremings, we've seen him a few times. In 22, Shane Nicewanger. I hope I got your name right. I genuinely hope I got it right. 23, going to Jacob Manning. Unfortunately, not able to complete the event, as well as Jason Adams in the 48.
Yeah, down here, in 25th, Tony Baird, 76 laps down. Jacob Williams, 26th. Kenny Myers, 27th. Shane Posey, 28th. Michael Augusto, 29th. William Barbagaletta in 30th. Hunter Mantalinas. We're gonna say I got that one right. Ashton lost it in 32nd. Clayton White in 33rd, and Marshall Harris in the 34th. Some of those people I do believe were involved in that super early accident in this one.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but that is racing. That's how it works. And, I got to say, this race has been incredibly fun to watch, been incredibly fun to commentate for. So, I really hope we can pick the brains of these drivers who just finished just incredible races and see what they thought about this.
I mean, yeah, it was a fun one all around. Like I said, we did have the cautions, we did have the caution laps, but very important to remember those green flag runs did exist. The first one in particular was very incredible racing. Like the lap cars played a factor, the tire falling off played a factor, and really, I mean, we saw remnants of that throughout the entire race. We had people jump out to huge leads, and then the tires would fall off. They'd have trouble passing lap cars, and they were reeled back in, and we saw some great racing because of it.
Yeah, this track is a very interesting track indeed. This is my first introduction to The Rock and seeing action live here. And I got to say, it produced a very interesting event. We saw a lot of very close racing, very eventful racing. We saw a lot of not so close racing. We saw a lot of cars take interesting pit strategies and just bump out to the lead. But in the end, consistency is what won out with RJ Williams in the top spot.
We'll have a couple interviews to bring you guys tonight. Super excited for those. And I believe we have the third place car, Daniel Nenny, the 45, waiting in the wings. Let's see. Daniel Nenny, you got a copy? Tonight's pole sitter as well. Daniel, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. You started off on the pole tonight. You were kind of up there in third place all night with Williams and Heller up there. How were you able to stay so consistent throughout the course of this one?
I wasn't trying to full throttle out the corners and save my tires a bit throughout that first half of the race until that unfortunate event that happened between Tron and I. I didn't mean to get into him, but we were pushing it hard, and I accidentally spun him out. I apologize to him, so I hope we're on good terms.
Yeah, of course. So you sat on the pole tonight. How do you think you had a car that was faster than third place speed, or do you think you finished right around where you should have finished?
I think I finished where I thought I was gonna finish. Like I went to the back at the halfway mark, and I knew it was gonna be a drive to get through the front. So I wasn't sure if we were going to get another caution or not, so I was just saving fuel throughout most of the second half of the race until that final caution happened.
Awesome, yeah, and congrats on the third place finish. Anyone you want to thank for tonight's race?
I got to thank you guys for being kind enough to broadcast this lead. I got to thank Christopher Her and Bernie Bacussi for making this lead come possible, because without them, we wouldn't be racing here tonight. So a special thanks to them. And mostly the entire lead. It was great racing all around, and it was fun, and I can't wait until for these next 2 weeks to be over with so we can get back to racing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Congrats on the third place finish, and good luck in future races in the Great Lakes Cup Series.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having David Nenny in the booth. We will now go, I believe, to our second place finisher, Brandon Barkowski, and the sponsor of tonight's race. Brandon, can you got us in the copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Started the race 10th, finishing second. You kind of were charging late. How did your car come to you as the race went on?
Honestly, I practiced here a couple nights ago with my teammate Chris, and if you would have told me I would have finished second here, I would have told you you're quit dreaming. But I mean, I think we just had a decent car on the long run. Just got lucky there on those green white checkers. Honest to God, we just got a good launch. That's all that happened.
We were talking up here, whether or not RJ Williams was going to cut you a break since you were the sponsor of tonight's race. And And you mentioned those cautions kind of took place. How do you stay focused mentally when these cautions seem to come out every couple of laps?
It's tough. And, Chris being my teammate, it's tough for him because he's the guy on the outside, and it's very hard to time the jumps. And, me and him are just talking to each other, calming each other down, focusing on the big picture, saying, hey, this is what we got to do. If it comes to this, what are we going to do when this happens? Just try to, put all the chess pieces on the board, think 3 moves ahead. And luckily for us, the cookie crumbled our way tonight. Unfortunately for Chris, he was probably the class of the field and came home 5th. Based on our team, I think Chris should have been in front of me. Just bad misfortune there.
Well, I'm sure he'll appreciate the humble nature of that. We really appreciate you, throwing the money down towards this race. Anyone you'd like to thank tonight for your second place finish?
Honestly, Chris, man, he has put this league together. We have a truck league for the Great Lakes. This is really the premier series. We're going with no fast repairs, and the cup car, we're trying to really simulate, a really high-end premier series. This is like the big leagues here, and I think Chris is doing an awesome job putting this together. So I love running with Chris, and first time we're teammates in all these leagues, so it's going to be a blast this year. And thank you guys for doing this one-off. You guys are the best, honestly.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we really appreciate that, and you put on a show for us, so we really appreciate that as well. Congrats on the second place finish. Good luck next time in the Great Lakes Cup Series.
All right, thank you guys.
And we will now be joined, I believe, by tonight's winner, the 21 car of OJ Williams. OJ, you got us?
I'm with you.
OJ, a couple times throughout the race, I referred to you as Mr. Consistency. I do not believe you fell below 3rd place all night. How did you keep grinding and, get to the point where you feel like you could win this race?
Well, I just ran it like I feel like Rockingham should be ran. Hot lapping don't mean shit here. So as long as you just keep it under you, hit the same line every lap, hit your points, they're going to come to you, and you're going to take care of the car out on the racetrack, and that's exactly what happened.
Awesome. About 15, 20 laps ago, we saw the one car of Jacob Manning on strategy kind of pull away from the field, and then he was involved in an accident. What were you thinking as he was kind of putting some distance between you guys? You think maybe, you hoping for a caution, or were you kind of going to be content running 2nd or 3rd?
Well, there for a little bit. Well, hell, I was going for the damn win. But they're sitting when he went by. I was sitting there thinking, man, I may have picked the wrong strategy here. So I was hoping for a caution basically that whole time. As soon as I got around Christopher, I felt like I was in the spot I needed to be in compared to the guys on fresher tires. It looks like Max, once you ran the good off of his tires, he was struggling there. So I was kind of around him when we had that caution. And then I guess Jacob was the caution or something, because I expected him to be in front of me, and he wasn't there. I had Max in front of me, and then Max came down pit road with us. So it really shook out in my favor there coming off of pit road. So it really worked out well for me.
Yeah, and lastly, we saw you kind of that restart with 5 to go. You were doing really well, and then we had another restart to bring out the green flag checkered. How do you stay focused, and how do you not panic when you got to realize you got to re-rack and try them again when you're that late in the race trying to win it?
I've been doing this for 20 plus years, so it's just another restart. I knew what I needed to do. I saw what Christopher was trying to do there on the outside. Trying to get a rolling start. I do the exact same thing, but I go when he lets off the gas to slow back down, and that's pretty much how I handled it.
Awesome. Well, anyone like to thank tonight?
I want to shout out to Windshield Deep. You can find us on Windshield Deep on Twitch, Facebook, Short Track Grassroots Racing. We love it. Y'all need to check us out. We have to do a podcast on Thursday nights. We have a 87 league that we run on Monday nights, and we have a super late model race coming up, 1,000 to win at Richmond. Richmond is going to provide the trophy as well. Blue Emu is the title sponsor presented by Sim Seats, so you can sign up at windshielddeep.com, or you can join our Discord, Total Advantage Discord. But gotta thank all those guys, and appreciate you guys putting on this league.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Congrats on the win, and good luck in the future races of the Great Lake Cup Series.
All right, thanks.
Well, that was it for the interviews tonight. I think we had a really good show. Like I said, we had a really good race tonight, and honestly, action all over the racetrack.
I could not agree more. What we saw here was a very eventful night. All these drivers having to deal with the bumpy race surface and doing a fantastic job considering we only had like 6 or 7 cautions. And I was honestly thinking we were going to see more because it's The Rock. I've seen enough through like just watching the practice, let alone whatever, to know that this is a very difficult track to race. Just watching the cars bobble around the racing line, but they were able to keep the cars under themselves and pull off a fantastic race that was just entertaining throughout.
Awesome. Well, very quickly before we leave you, I will like to remind you guys of our upcoming events. We have Ring Around the Roadies here on SCN Racing, the finale from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval on Wednesday, December 23rd, 8 p.m. Tune in for that. The FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals, round 1 at Daytona on January 23rd. And then the 2021 IGB 400 qualifying January 3rd, heats January 8th through 9th, last chance qualifier, and main event on January 10th here on STN Racing. Thank you so much to Zach Johnson for producing. Thank you so much to Strix for being beside me in the booth. We hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good one.